Hello everyone, thank you for joining us wherever you are. I'm Gulo from Jadi PNS, will be the host. Now we are with Khanh-Linh Lê. She is co-founder and general manager of the Cocoa project from Vietnam. Hello Khanh-Linh, how are you?
Hello, Gulo. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much Khanh-Linh for joining us, and we are really excited to have you here.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, and Khanh-Linh, could you please give us a little bit of background on you, please?
A little background. So, sure. My name is Khanh-Linh. I'm French with Vietnamese origins, as you can guess with my name. I have a business background, so I studied management at HEC Paris. And after starting as a consultant at McKinsey and Company in Paris, I moved to Vietnam 7 years ago to first work for a beer company, AB InBev, and then to open the Cocoa project.
Perfect. And since when were you obsessed with chocolate?
Well, I think that like every children, every child, I've always loved chocolate. It's part of my childhood memories. But I think that something like 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to meet a, a, a chocolate company in France. And I was very fascinated with the whole industry and universe surrounding chocolate. And that's where my passion really got ignited, I guess.
Interesting. And then when and where were you when you first realized you wanted to run a chocolate business?
Oh, well, I think it didn't came suddenly as a realization. It came more from a meeting. So from that time when I met the chocolate company in France, I I had fascination for the chocolate industry, and I wanted to join. I wanted to be part of, but it's a small industry, actually. Surprisingly, there are not so many players, not so many jobs in there, and I couldn't find the right opportunity to work in the chocolate industry and go to Asia. So you could say that I gave up on my dream at that time, and I accepted that I would not work in the chocolate industry, and I moved to Vietnam to work in the beer. And one day I met the person who became my investor, and he was actually the creator of, I would say, of the chocolate industry in Vietnam. And I guess that was my chance, because at that time I thought that I didn't think I had enough courage to start a business. And if it were not for meeting him and for benefiting from his entrepreneurial experience, I don't think I would have ever dared
Mm-hmm.
to open a company. And because he did it before and he had the experience, and also he had projects he wanted to materialize. And that's when slowly we started to build the project together.
Interesting. And then you founded the Cocoa project. How was the story?
Yeah, well, the story is from this meeting. So from this meeting, when I met that person, his name is Grisha. When I met that person, and I thought that okay, this is finally my chance to work in the chocolate industry. Then I reached out to him and I told him I I want to work with you. I want to work for you. Just like give me any job. And he told me, I'm sorry, but I don't have jobs right now. There's no space for you inside my company. And so of course I was disappointed. But then the next day he called me again to tell me, actually, I've been thinking, and actually I still don't have a job, but I have several ideas. And in those ideas, there was the idea to open a chocolate museum that one of his partner was encouraging him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then he asked me, okay, could that be interesting for you? And I said, okay, sure, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that's how the whole story started. So
Wow.
initially, the Cocoa Project was supposed to be a museum,
Mm-hmm.
but then we made the project evolve into what is today more of a cocoa shop or cocoa bar, like a
Wow.
F&B concept all around chocolates.
Wow. Wow. It seems so delicious to go there.
It is delicious. I mean, I know Indonesia is a very uh, chocolate cacao country too, but I
Yes,
think
we have
our
a
cocoa
lot.
project is something very unique.
We have a lot. And then, Kanli, where and how do you get the knowledge and skills in running your social entrepreneurship, the Cocoa Project?
Well, I'd be very careful before calling it a social entrepreneurship project, because we are definitely are a company that wants to do good. We want to be a positive impact company. We source our cacao, I mean, our chocolate locally, our ingredients locally. We care a lot about being a company with positive impact. But to stretch it and to call ourselves a social enterprise, I would not do. I don't feel comfortable doing so. Um, so let's call ourselves a company that wants to have a positive impact. Secondly, back to your question about where did we get the skills and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the knowledge about chocolate I got directly from my investor, who is leading a B2B company in chocolate, and who has the network, the understanding about the industry, the right connections to find people who are able to work with chocolate in Vietnam. About the skills, I would say I have my own. We recruited talented people. Actually, it's very different between what it takes to succeed in B2B and B2C.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, our project is a B2C company. We are here to reach directly to the consumers. And this type of skills you can find in Vietnam. Of course, chocolate is a more niche, but that's where we find people who are, let's say, good at F&B, but maybe don't know so well about chocolate. We train them. So that's, I would say, a mix of experience and available talent in the talent market in Vietnam.
Interesting. And where do the ingredients for your chocolate production come from?
Yeah, from Vietnam. From Vietnam. So ingredients for, I mean, our star ingredients is obviously chocolate. Uh, Chocolate comes from Vietnam, made from Vietnamese cacao beans. So that's for our main ingredients, and we really, as a company and as a brand, we promote local consumptions, local supporting local industry, local farmers. So we prioritize sourcing from Vietnamese ingredients.
All right. And why did you choose a very local spice leaf to make chocolate?
A local spice. You talk about our Macan chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we wanted to create something new. for the chocolate in Vietnam. We didn't want to just use Vietnamese cacao and chocolate to make very foreign recipes. So we wanted to mix chocolate as an ingredient made from Vietnamese beans with local Vietnamese ingredients. And one that is quite special is a mac can, which is a sort of pepper from the north that has a very unique taste, because we want what we do to celebrate the Vietnamese food culture.
Interesting. And what do you think, KhanhLinh, about the current chocolate market in Vietnam?
What do I think of the current chocolate market in Vietnam? Oh, well, I guess most people would agree with me, but the current chocolate market in Vietnam is very small and very limited because Vietnamese people are usually not so used to enjoying chocolate, maybe because of the climate, maybe because of cultural reasons, or maybe because the chocolate that they know of until now are not always very enjoyable chocolate. Like sometimes it's going to be compound, or the temperature is not great for keeping good chocolate either, or imported cheap chocolate from abroad. And maybe that's why there is not a lot of brands that come to your mind, or that there's not a lot of ways of enjoying chocolate that comes to the mind of the Vietnamese people. So I would say that currently the market is small, but I think growing. I see that Vietnamese people have, from my observation, have remained very loyal to their traditional way of enjoying food, but at the same time are open to change and to try new things. So I guess that the market for chocolate in Vietnam has a lot of potential.
Wow, I love your courage and optimism.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's calculated risk. I mean, in the end, everyone loves chocolate.
Yeah.
So I think that this is not a very crazy bet to bet that people will love chocolate.
Well, honestly, I love chocolate, honestly.
Glad to hear.
Yeah. And how do you sustain the cocoa project?
Okay, that's a great question that I'm happy to answer, because I think that all businesses need to ask themselves
Yeah.
that question, given, I mean, this week is the hottest week of the past 10 years. So climate change is a huge issue. I think that all business people should wonder, how will we sustain our businesses in this changing world? The way that we care about sustainability at the Coco project is in our design. So the design of our space is made by architects that had sustainability at heart, privileging limited use of AC, natural materials, renovation over scrap and build. And so the first one is design. Second is our sourcing. So we mentioned about where do we source our ingredients from. We promote local ingredients, which means that we aim to have a supply chain that generate less carbons, because I much prefer to choose great products from Vietnam that honestly, we are so lucky to have um, all these fruits. There's milk, there's dairy, there's everything. So why import this from another part of the world?
All right. Good. And then what are your problems or challenges in building the cocoa project?
So many, of course.
Please
There's
tell us.
yeah, there's many, but our biggest problem is our biggest opportunity, which is the S at the core of the reason of why did we create that project. It's the Vietnamese people, they are not used to enjoying chocolate.
Uh-huh.
This it's a fact, compared with how present chocolate is in, let's say, European countries. Vietnamese people will not enjoy chocolate as often, and which means that there's a work to educate the market or to create new ways of enjoying chocolate that they have not tried yet, and convince them to try, and convince them to come again, and involve chocolate as a part of their daily life. So this is both our biggest challenge and our biggest opportunity, because that's the main reason why we're here. We want to bring chocolate for the locals. So that's yeah, that I see this as the biggest challenge.
You want to mention another challenges or problems?
Other challenges are problems. Um, I mean, all other problems are going to be related with that big mega challenge. For example, it's not always easy to find the right talents in the market, because there's not a lot of chefs or barista who are used to chocolate as an ingredient.
Ah,
So you don't have a lot of people who have the skills and the experience to work with chocolate. So that's and it's for the same reason that chocolate is still a niche in Vietnam. So yeah, I think that this is the main one that I want to share with the audience today.
all right. Thank you for sharing your problems and challenges in the Cocoa project. And then, Kanli, how does it feel to be a female social entrepreneur in Vietnam?
Yeah, going back to the same clarification that I did before, that I would not call our business a social enterprise business. Not that I am very familiar with the terminology, but I feel comfortable labeling ourselves as a positive impact company, in the sense that we pay attention to our impact and to our externalities. But to call ourselves a social enterprise is a stretch that I haven't I haven't looked into that, but I wouldn't call myself like that. Now, to be a female opening a business, I think it's nothing special to mention. I mean, except from amazing. Like, I think Vietnam is a great place where to be a female professional, because the country is run by women, basically. There are a lot of skilled women. Most of the people I work with are women. So yeah, I think Vietnam is a great place where to open a company, and where to be a female entrepreneur.
Mhm. And last but not least, what is your message for young people who want to run a social business?
To young people who want to open a social business, I want to say the time is now. And said differently, if not now, when? It's a great aspiration to be a social entrepreneur. The world is ripe. The world needs this energy from young people to create solutions under the form of enterprises. So definitely, it's a great timing to launch a social enterprise.
This is such a pleasure. Thank you so much, KhanhLinh Lê, for sharing your inspiring story.
Thank you.
And thank you again. And thank you everyone for joining us. Let's collaborate to make this world into a better place. I'm Gulo from Jadi PNS. Thank you and see you again.